welcome to EdTechX Stories. My name is Benjamin Vedrenne-Cloquet. I'm CEO and co-founder of EdTechX Holdings and Partner at IBIS Capital. EdTechX Stories is a short weekly interaction with CEOs, founders, investors, and innovators shaping and making the future of education and work. So welcome to EdTechX Stories, and I hope you enjoy our next session. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Chip Paucek, co-founder and CEO of 2U. I was born and raised in South Florida in the United States, and I'm coming to you today from my home in Annapolis, Maryland, right outside of Washington, D.C. I'm here today to talk about how flexible online learning can help eliminate the back row in higher education on a worldwide basis.
Chip Paucek, welcome. Welcome to EdTechX Stories. You are the CEO of 2U. Before we talk about 2U and your business, let me start with a personal question, which is, how did you end up in that position? Is there a defining moment in your life or a meaningful someone that has inspired you to lead an education technology business?
So I'm a first generation college student. When I left Florida, I had only been out of Florida a couple of times, and I went to a great university in Washington, D.C. called George Washington University, which is why I'm here in the DC area. And it completely changed my life in every way. And while I was a student at GW, I didn't study business. And I graduated from a program, and I began working for a United States senator on Capitol Hill. Her name was Barbara Mikulski. She's really a pioneer at the time. She was the only Democratic woman ever elected to the United States Senate. When she got there, there were no women's bathrooms. So it was, very early in the journey of women becoming elected members of Congress in the United States. And the reason I go there is I worked for her for a year and a half, and I came up with my first idea for my first EdTech startup. This is many, many years ago. And when I decided to give my notice, because we had raised some money, I gave the senator a business plan. Now, Senator Mikulski was a social worker by trade, so she was not a wealthy woman. And the very next day, I came into the office, and on my desk was a little Senate envelope with a wax seal on it. And I opened it up, and it was a check for $5,000. And she became an investor in my first EdTech company. And, incredible, really vote of confidence, incredible sort of moment for me as a young person starting my first company. Her notion of sort of being bold and fearless, that's one of our guiding principles at 2U. It was awesome for me. So, unfortunately, that company I ran for 10 years, and it didn't turn into 2U. I had the opposite part of the story. So it ultimately, it ultimately failed 10 years later. So I'm very comfortable talking about it because, it's interesting. People only talk about the successes, and 2U has been we're a big company today. We'll do almost $1 billion in revenue this year. So, 2U is the opposite story, but my first one was a tough road, and the support of people like Senator Mikulski, it changed my life.
Yeah, and we all have tough road before success. And thank you for being transparent on this, because I think that's what everyone experiences. Just to talk about 2U for a few minutes, 2U mission statement is to eliminate the back row in higher education and help universities thrive in the digital age. Did I get that right?
That's right.
So how do you make the digital experience better than the physical one when it comes to learning?
Well, we really have made our name on the fact that if you're intentional about designing something from the ground up for a high quality online experience, it really can be as good or better. And I know today in the world of COVID, when everybody had to go remote and go urgently, many of the experiences weren't good. They weren't positive. And I would say that, if you do it right and you create a curated path for the student to engage with both interactive lessons, and so that when they go to class and they have the live experience like we're having today, they're actually engaged in discussion about what they learned rather than just having an online Zoom lecture for 2 hours, you can really do something amazing. And what we found in all of our online programs, if you go back historically, is that creating the right blend for people of high quality asynchronous, high quality online live, and then also in person in-person experiences, you can really do something magical. Why should you pick up your life, quit your job, and move to attend a school if you could get everything you were going to get? Now today, 13 and a half years later, we've educated more than 300,000 students. I think we're at 350,000 across 500 different offerings. We partner with 80 plus universities around the world. We started with grad programs, and now we're doing online boot camps, online exec ed, and now online undergrad programs. And you might have seen that we made some big news with a recent acquisition of edX, and I know we'll talk about that more in a moment. So I really believe the future of all of this is flexibility. When you go shopping today, you don't think about whether I'm going online shopping or I'm going shopping at a store. You just go shopping, and it's this blended experience. The retailers that do that really well are the best, where you really can blend the two. And we think education is in very early days of what is a transformation long term. Something like 2% of overall learning is digitized.
Yeah, and so it's interesting because I have this I guess view of the world that when digital goes mainstream, actually live and experiential goes premium. And to your point of retail, even music, if you think of live music, it's premium. Do you think the same will happen in education?
Yeah, it's very smart. I hadn't heard that. I would tell you that live interactions with high quality faculty members are a big backbone of the way our programs work. Particularly on the degree side, where you've got super intimate live classes with excellent these faculty members. You don't get to become a faculty member at Berkeley or at Georgetown or at Harvard or any of these places without being pretty incredible. And so the interaction between those people and the students, and between the students and other students, is a big part of the magic of how it works. So I think that's a pretty smart theory.
Good. Thank you for that. Look, pre-COVID, EdTech was barely on the map. It was mostly an expert market. People knew about it, but that's it now. Post-COVID or in the middle of COVID, everyone knows about EdTech. It's, mainstream, center stage, live, prime time. What do you think people omit about EdTech? What would you like people to talk more about in EdTech? What do you think is overlooked in the current conversation?
I would say quality often. It's really difficult, and it's expensive to build something that is really high quality. And, what we experienced with the sort of forced wave of remote learning all over the world, one of the things I worry about is kids that were in high school or in primary school had a pretty bad experience online because it wasn't made for being online. And, the reality is if you really intentionally build the right kind of online program, it can be incredible. So I think it's really rewarding to create something of quality. Like the reason people come to work at 2U is, one of our guiding principles: make service your mission. Like the students and the faculty are really why we do what we do. And if you look at every survey we have of our employees, of course, people want flexible work and they want good pay and they want good benefits and all that stuff. But the mission of the organization is, a step function above any of those reasons why people come to 2U. So, I think it's a key component of quality is a key component of what we do. And, doing something high quality takes a real investment. 2U's invested over $1 billion into our partners programs over 13 years. We just recently got profitable. We're getting increasingly profitable, but we just recently got profitable. If you think about it, that's a conduit of capital from the markets directly into these programs. And, the reality is it's expensive to do it right. So scale is really helping us today. And I would say as we get greater scale, we do think that maybe another piece that people aren't talking enough about is how scale can increase affordability. Like scale can create better access and create better affordability. And we're seeing that across our programs. So, we now range from $600 short courses to $26,000 undergraduate degrees. Like our London School of Economics degrees, all 9 of them, they're $26,000 for the entire degree. That's a really big opportunity for people worldwide. So quality and maybe access and affordability.
Mm-hmm. And was that the rationale that drove the acquisition of edX? Tell us about this.
It was. So edX, first of all, this is a very exciting time to be at 2U. Like I do believe that the combination of the two companies is, regardless of nonprofit and for-profit, that attracts a lot of attention. I do think, honestly, people were very surprised. Like, no one expected that deal. And, we were excited that we were able to keep it tight. And, when it came out, it was big news. But if you look at the missions of the organizations, they are very clearly aligned. And that's become evident as the two employee bases have started to intermingle. So it's been a really exciting time. And the long-term mission of edX is, direct line of sight to 2U. And we do believe that the scale that edX is operating on a worldwide basis is absolutely going to help 2U increase access and affordability. As you know, a big part of the story of creating online programs is bringing people's attention to the online programs. You have to find the right students to fit all these programs. And edX is a very substantial worldwide brand. It's a top 5 education brand in the world. It's a top 1,000 website in the world. So just huge amounts of not just traffic, but learners. You've got, the combined entity of 2U and edX will be over 50 million learners. And, to rival any of the best platforms in the world. And we do think it can really drive greater access to more affordable learning options for people, some of which we have today, many of which we'll build. So it's a pretty exciting time to be here. We expect to close it, reasonably imminently. So we can't wait to get to work. Right now we're just in planning phase because the deal's not closed yet. But we have a lot to say when we close it. There's a lot of activity on both sides, on the edX side and on the 2U side, that we think is going to make it really a big close announcement.
Okay, well, good luck with the last mile of the closing.
Thank you.
And I'm guessing, Chip, you are a lifelong learner, are you?
I am.
So what are you learning right now?
So I would say, what's interesting about my journey is, you heard me mention that I had a startup. That educational startup, by the way, produced a TV show in the United States on a television network called PBS, Public Television. And, if you go through my career, I've been in some form of EdTech for most of my career. And I would say, the journey of 2U as an entrepreneur, when you start it, and there's 5 of you, and now today there's 4,000 full-time employees worldwide, 6,000 total employees. It's a very different experience. And most people, candidly, in my seat that started it, are long gone by this stage. It's 13 and a half years. I'm very proud to still be here. I still love my job. I still love working with my team. I still love the opportunity. But in terms of what I'm learning, we've been a public company for almost 8 years, been 7.5 years as a public company. So I've been a public company CEO for a very long time. EdTech is now finally getting more people coming to the party. It was us and Egg that was it for a long time, so Pluralsight for a little while, Instructure for a little while, but not many. And what I'm learning is to guide this organization at this stage. It's really all about setting context for people, setting clear lines of authority, and really delegating the authority in a substantial way. If I'm doing too much, I'm just agitating my way to success. I'm not actually creating sustainable change inside the organization to drive each opportunity. And so learning how to go from somebody who used to do it all, in the first 5, when it was 5 of us, or even when it was 100 of us, I would fly to go see the university partners, and I would have to come back overnight because I would have to go do all the things that we had just talked about. And in today's world, as you go from 50 employees to 1,000 employees to 4,000 employees, it's about finding and recruiting the best talent and giving that talent the context and the confidence to really go for it and be bold and fearless, and not wait for somebody like me to say, hey, you can take that risk. So learning a lot about how to embed greater risk tolerance into a much bigger organization. I don't know if that all made sense.
Yeah, that makes sense. And it's not easy in a public market context. So, congrats and credits to you. Well, thank you for that, Chip. Now we'll get to another section of the interview, which I call the rapid fire questions. So you have 6 questions, and you just have the right to answer by A or B. You ready?
Yep, ready.
Degree or skills?
I can't do both.
No.
I can't. I mean, we're one of the few companies that we do both at scale. Like we're one of the largest providers of online degrees, and now we're the largest revenue producer of alternative credentials. I'm sorry.
Okay, that was the joker you didn't have, but you used one.
I choose curtain number 3.
Okay. State school or private school?
I went to private school.
Okay. Profit or impact?
Impact.
Learners or shareholders?
Learners.
Teacher or technology?
I'd probably say teacher.
Grit or grades?
Grit.
Very good. Thank you very much. Now, I'd like you to nominate who will be the next participant to our EdTechX stories, and tell us why, if you have someone in mind.
I mean, it's a very easy answer. Anand Agarwal, the CEO and founder of edX. It has been so awesome doing the deal with Anand, and then once we signed the deal, being able to become colleagues. Anand is amazing, and he is a 30+ year member of the MIT faculty who's had multiple startups in his life, and he founded edX. On a bit of a shoestring compared to the well-funded competitors that he was playing against, and built it into 40+ million learners with the kind of resources that put him at a real disadvantage. So incredible guy. He's also an absolute delight. He's very fun. So he'll be a good engaging interview. So you got to get Anand on the program.
Okay, Anand, here we come. Thank you very much. This was Chip Paucek for EdTechX Innovator Stories. Thank you, Chip. It was a pleasure. We love what you do. Keep doing it. Thank you very much.
Wonderful being here. Take care. Remember, no back row.
Bye.